together. We change the world.
Hello everyone, it's your boy Theo here with a quick guide to crystal passives. I'm a little late with this upload because I wanted to do more research on this before releasing this guide. Before I jump into my recommendations, there's one thing I need to make clear. These crystal passives are not mandatory. They are not game breaking and you certainly do not need them to win. These are all just small bonuses that can be nice to have, but it's certainly alright to skip. If you can't be bothered with farming these sparkles every single week, then don't worry about it. There will be 3 parts to this video. First is the crystal passives themselves, short description and recommendation for all the useful ones. Second is color, which color to take, and whether or not to focus or spread the sparkles. And finally, my own plan. Now onto the passives. There are 3 types: utility, attack, and defense. Starting with utility, we have U1. This passive enables an infinite duration golden frame buff with small attack up, brave regen, and HP regen effects. You really can't go wrong with this one. It's minor but can be a useful filler for all characters. Then we have U2. This grants free and instant turn at the start of the fight. These are useful for setup characters that require more than 1 turn to get everything up. For example, Core. He needs 4 turns to apply his BT and all necessary buffs to himself and his allies. Having U2 will speed up this process. Aerith is another good example. With this, she can activate BT straight away and build up her white materia stacks while discharging. Noctis, Kurasame, Selfie, Ace, Laguna, etc. are all good candidates as well. The rule of thumb is, if that character needs to spend several turns to get going, use this passive. Next, we have U4 with 20% chance to fill EX recast gauge similar to Anacro LD Call at the cost of -2 skill uses from both base skills. This drawback is usually negligible. This is an alright passive for characters with very powerful EX that outperforms all of the other buttons. But they have no way to refill their EX through BT effects. So someone like Sid Reigns, Aranea, Yuri, Ursula, Mog, or Kurasame. We then have the opposite spectrum with U6, giving 2 more LD users with 20% higher HP damage limit at the cost of EX gauge freeze. These are great for characters whose entire game plan revolves around LD. So someone like Ace, Garnet, Anacro, Lan and Rain, and I would even argue Sarah and Aerith can benefit from this passive. If the character has an LD that you are more than happy to press, even at the cost of their EX related buffs falling off, then U6 can be a great addition. I am skipping U3 and U5 because they are not worth taking. Next up is attack type. With A1, we have attack and max brave up that scales as you take more turns. Similar to the U1 golden buff, this is a good filler passive if you have nothing else to equip. Then we have A3 that has notable 10% HP damage limit up, but at quite a big cost. Buff duration will decrease an additional turn, meaning it's -2 duration every turn. This drawback is quite huge, but if your character can handle this penalty, then it's a fantastic bonus. It's a strong passive for characters that can refresh or extend their important buffs without sacrificing damage. Someone like Squall, for example. Squall's EX is what we press frequently, and the skill extends all buffs by 2 turns, perfectly contracting the drawback. Then we have Ace. His important buffs are tied to his LD, and that's the button that we will likely press during force time, alongside his FR echo. The same goes for characters like Lightning with her EX spams. She doesn't care about her Commando or Ravager buff anymore, so it's fine if those fall off. Her EX will refresh her important buff every time. Aerith is also an alright choice if you don't care about her EX buff. The list goes on, so check your character's buff management. If they can live without certain buffs, then chances are A3 will fit right in. We now arrive at A6. Similar to A3, this passive also increases HP damage limit, but at a steeper cost. This passive increases HP damage limit by 20%, only when the current HP is less than 70%. This passive comes with a 40% HP poison in order to activate this effect. This drawback is huge, because unlike other self-harm mechanics, this HP damage poison is reflected on the scorecard and can potentially lead to a failed HP requirement mission as shown on this screenshot. It's a high risk, high reward passive. Only use this on characters with undead effect like Galuf, Ardyn or Zack. Ram BT has the unique effect of turning the whole party undead, so the HP poison penalty from A6 will not penalize your score. I'm skipping A2, A4 and A5 in this attack category. Moving on to defense, starting with D3 and D6 together. These two are top tier passives. They are the golden standards for off-turn teams. D3 has turn rate down and damage resist up, while D6 has speed down and overheal. These two increases tankiness, all while slowing the character down. Both are features we want in a counter team, where the primary goal is to let the enemies take as many turns as possible during our force time. Next up is D4, which heals the character whenever they take non-lethal HP damage by 40% of max HP. This comes at the cost of 50% max brave down. This drawback is minimal and can be easily mitigated by our own max brave up auras. The healing can be situationally useful, especially for often characters that do not have a reliable way to deal with constant barrage of HP damage. This passive has its niche use just like D5. With 10% HP regen and 30% max brave regen, both of which happens in post-turn. This comes at the cost of 30% attack down, again a very minimal drawback. Having these regens trigger in post-turn adds an extra layer of protection. The party will get broken less and they can deal with HP poison better. These are all niche scenarios that can be situationally useful. D5 can potentially be paired with A6 to help mitigate that HP poison effect, but we will need more than 10% regen to make a reliable A6 build. Then an honorable mention to D1. It offers a one-time last stand effect. This passive can be used to occasionally cheese a fight, especially ones where we are expected to eat a one-time big damage. Funny one to learn, but probably not worth it to take for the most part. D2 is just a skip because our slots are way too precious for max HP up effects. A small addendum before we move on to colors. Aside from these unique passives, the crystal room is filled with many small nodes that grants raw stats bonuses like attack, defense and max brave. These stats can be quite game changing for some characters, most notably HP poison character like Seven, Pain, Dark Knight Cecil and X-Death. All of them has a unique gimmick that scales purely off the attack stats. The entire board has about plus 2000 attack up, and this translates to a lot of extra poison damage. This can be something worth investing if they are your favorites. Now on to part 2, color. The first question, which color do I take? There's really no correct way to answer this, but first you need to check your roster. How big is your roster? Specifically the ones with FR. Do you have 3 characters with the same color and all of them with an FR weapon? If you do, what colors can you build a team with? For players with smaller roster that only have one color that fits the requirement, then I would recommend sticking with that one color while you expand your roster. Let's say you have Lightning, Balthier and Charlotta fully built, but it's not possible to build triple FR team with other colors. Then it's better for you to do it with yellow this week rather than skipping it completely to force a color that you do not yet have. Continue expanding your options until you can try a different color. But for players with wide roster choices, it all comes down to favoritism. Do you have that one character that you bring into fights again and again? Do you have a specific playstyle that you like to do? We each know our own playstyle best, so pick the color that caters to that playstyle or character. The next question is whether to spread the sparkles or focus on a single color. This might be the one that most players are concerned about. Mastering a single color can unlock a unique crystal attack that is quite powerful. So there is an incentive to max out one color just for this, but the general consensus is it's better to spread out and take different useful passives across all different colors. For example, U2, the consecutive turn crystal passive, is something that is extremely useful to unlock across many colors. Blue for core, red for Aerith, black for Noctis, and so on. Tanks are also spread across different colors, so often players might want to unlock D3 and D6 across various colors. Spreading your sparkles would allow for better flexibility and overall stronger roster. Repeating my earlier addendum, if you like your HP poison, then there's a good enough incentive to focus on a single color. We can traverse through the whole board without taking a single crystal passive and focusing only on the small nodes for raw stats. Now for my own crystal quest plan. I'm focusing on a single color, yellow. I am quite intrigued by the crystal attack and want to unlock them as soon as possible. That's it for the guide. I hope it's helpful to you all. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!